Invocation, remain standing for the pledge of the flag. Father, again, it's with thankful hearts that we come to you and ask for your wisdom and your guidance for this meeting in which we endeavor to do the best will of the people of this county. Give us your judgment and your great wisdom so that all decisions that we make might be those which would be best. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First item, consideration of resolution to approve the agenda, please. Entertain a motion.
Nobody has any changes, I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Next item, consideration to approve the minutes of the May 6th, 2014 Commissioners meeting. Any corrections, additions? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to accept the minutes as written. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. I ask that all public comments be limited to those items which are on our agenda. And it should be noted that all documents from this meeting, as are all meetings, are located in the clerk's office and on the Board of Commissioners website. First item under old business is consideration to approve the revised development impact fee study. This was tabled from a previous meeting on April 15th. I am being told that the information that we tabled before is still not available. And I would like to have a motion to table this again to June 17th, which would be our second meeting in June.
I'll make a motion that we table this item until June.
Second. Motion and a second to table this item to June 17th. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. First item under new business, consideration to approve the first reading of the fiscal year 2014-2015 budget.
I would make a motion to put this off and give us another, and all this information we got today, to sort of try to get it lined up. And then we can have the first reading, and then we can have the second reading, because we have plenty of time, don't we, Joanne?
Yes, sir, I would believe so. As long as we get it approved before the end of June.
Can you, okay, explain the calendar and everything to us about what we need to do about a first reading and second reading for advertising dates and all that. How does that work? Somebody?
Well, we just have to advertise 48 hours ahead of the meeting for a called meeting to have any of the readings. Sorry, to have any of the readings. So we can do it in a number of ways. We could have the first reading on June the 3rd, the second on June the 17th, which gets us all before June the 30th. We could have a call meeting in between now and the 3rd, continue the second on the 3rd. I think from staff's perspective, we would prefer to do it as far ahead of June the 30th as possible, simply because all of this information then has to be loaded into our financial software so that on July 1, we can actually use it. And if we wait till June the 30th to do it, it all would have to happen overnight, basically.
Well, I'm just asking to do it for 2 weeks, to have the next meeting.
And that's up to the board.
Well, I'd give us 2 weeks to look over this stuff and what she gave us today, and that's a lot of stuff there to.
So I'm just asking what is the proposed example that we do a first reading at the next meeting and a second reading at the next meeting, or where we,
That's fine.
let's understand.
So the board, I would have this June the 17th being the second reading of
The
this
staff
document.
recommendation on that. I understand, so is that what the recommendation is?
I don't have to load this stuff in the system. If that's enough time for finance to get everything put in there from the 17th to the 30th.
The issue we have is exactly what Charles is saying. For us to be able to load and get everything in, it means new account numbers, it means loading all this information. So the earlier the better. I would say if we can approve it by the 17th, that would be phenomenal. If we need to have more meetings in between, we certainly are willing to do that. But for staff to be able to load it and not do a continuing resolution, then we would need it at least by the 17th.
Okay, so we could go for our first reading at the next first meeting, and then if we have a lot of issues, we can do a special call between them.
Yeah, over the next couple of weeks, if I could look at it and look at what you gave us today, and then if I have any questions, I got time to actually talk to you before our first reading on it.
Yes, sir.
And that's fine, we did make changes which clearly are not reflected in the draft you have, we need to follow that through
That's
the
what
whole
I'm saying, I just
document.
like to get it all together, look at it, and really I haven't looked at it like I should have, to tell you the truth. But
And that's certainly understandable, we're all busy. So if there's anything that y'all do know about specifically tonight and can give us that we can include in that draft, we'd appreciate it. I think there's some kind people out here who may or may not want to speak.
Well,
we would like-
basically, we had the draft that we had, we've had an additional draft that's been cut another 250,000, other than that, it's the same, so.
But if you have any questions or issues, we would like to go ahead and entertain those between now and the 3rd, so that if we need to make it further adjustments, we can do that and be able to approve at least the first reading on the 3rd.
And that's what I'm saying, if I come across something I don't understand, I'll come up here and talk to you, and then we'll have it, by that time, I'll have it together, whatever I need.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, but I think we would like to get you that document, not on the 3rd, obviously, so you'd have time to look at the, the revised draft, and that's 2 weeks from now, is that a fair statement? So the next couple of days, we need to be putting that document out, which is, and obviously that's the first reading, you have in between then and the second, if there's any changes.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So-
Still got another reason, but you can change something, just keep in
Yes.
mind.
But I think we'd all agree, we'd like to give you the most complete draft that we possibly can, with most encompassing.
But in consideration of this item on our agenda, I would like to give any of the elected officials again that are here an opportunity to speak. If you have anything to say about any of the items on the budget, proposed budget that pertains to you.
None of y'all hurt any at all?
Everybody's getting what they want, it must mean there's too much in there.
Silence is golden.
Okay,
They'll have time to ask for something else.
all right, and I'll entertain a motion to table this to June, what is it, 3rd?
The next meeting,
June 3rd.
Okay. Make a motion to table this to June 3rd for the first reading.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Next item, consideration to approve renewal of the gas portion agreement for the backyard fuel system card reader software and support.
Good evening. Firstly, I'd like to tell you I don't have my glasses, so I can't really see you very well. So I'm not ignoring you. I can read. So, I would like to request for consideration to approve renewal of the gasway agreement for software and support for the backyard fuel system card reader, which expires on June 10, 2014. The fuel in the tanks located at the county fuel island is on consignment from Fuelman, and the county contracts with Gasboy to provide the software maintenance and support necessary to monitor and report the fuel usage from the tanks to Fuelman. The agreement with Gasboy is for 1 year, commencing June 10, 2014, with automatic 1 year renewals unless 30 days written notice is given. Total cost for the agreement is $320, and as the agreement is done online, there's no hard copy to sign, but the renewal terms and conditions have been reviewed and approved by the county attorney. Staff recommends alternative 1, board approval of the renewal agreement from Gasboy for the year June 10, 2014 to June 10, 2015, and board approval for the purchasing agent to renew the agreement online. Any questions?
Question?
This is just a maintenance agreement on the software, right?
Yeah, just for the reader at the Fuel Island.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve alternate number 1.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve alternate number 1. which is the renewal of the present contract. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Thank you.
Next item, consideration to approve a new agency agreement with Verizon Wireless.
Good evening. Again. We'd like to request board consideration to approve renewal of agreement with Verizon Wireless for cell service. The county has contracted with Verizon for cell service since 2010 and currently has lines at various levels of service, including basic phones, smartphones, air cards and tablets. The service agreement with Verizon is the Georgia Technology Agency Agreement, which offers the federal rate to state and local governments. GTA and Verizon Wireless recently signed a new contract, so in order to continue receiving the federal rates, the county must renew their agreement with Verizon. Although the savings that will be gained from the new agreement cannot be defined due to the nature of the service, a savings will be made as the new agreement between Verizon and GTA offers an additional 500 text messages, SMS and picture at no cost, with no charge and monthly service fee for basic phones and a decrease for each of the bundle plans on the smartphones. T-Mobile and Southern Link cannot offer the same level of service as Verizon Wireless, and AT&T did not respond to staff's request for a quote or information. The agreement between the county and Verizon does not commit the county to any lines or service. It allows the county to participate in the program as an agency of the state of Georgia. And the county can cancel any lines with no penalty when they choose, provided they're cancelled before the 28th of each month. Based upon the review of the main contract between GTA and Verizon, the county attorney has reviewed and approved the GTA agreement between the county and Verizon Wireless. Therefore, staff recommends alternative 1, board approval to renew the agreement with Verizon Wireless.
In this regard, I got an email that suggested that we look at the original agreement that we're renewing. I took the time to print off that 180 pages of document, and I've got about 2/3 through it and didn't understand the first third. Do you understand all that?
I let Elizabeth look at it.
I mean, it's mind-boggling, which, did anybody else look at it? No?
Not to the depth you did.
No, I mean, it was advised that we look at the agreement that we were, I don't understand it.
Well, according,
Does the attorney review?
Yes, they reviewed it and approved it. And we're not bound by that agreement in any way.
No.
It's just the agreement that GTA have signed with Verizon for the federal government.
Basically, the bottom line is as far as what I understood about this is, we'll save money by doing this, and
Yes,
we're not bound by this.
it's less money, and we're going to research it further as well to see if we can lower it even more.
Okay.
Basically, this entering into this agreement allows the county to piggyback off of the contract that the state negotiated with Verizon.
With them.
We don't have to do anything. We're just basically opting into those rates.
Okay.
and we're saving money on this here, according to this here, so we're doing good.
All right.
Yeah, we're saving money on the rates, but as Fiona said, that's something else we continue to look at is our policy on the usage of devices and who has them and why they have them.
Exactly.
That's something, but it has nothing to do with the rates that we're getting. These are just securing the rates.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve staff recommendation number 1.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Next item, consideration to accept a quote and issue a contract to E&D Coatings Incorporated for the rehabilitation of Hodgeville wet well and manhole.
Good evening again. Steve, Leota, and myself would like to request for consideration to approve a bid and execute a contract to E&D Coatings for the rehabilitation of Hodgeville wet well and manhole. The Hodgeville lift station wet well and gravity manhole constructed in late 2005. Since then, they have been subject to corrosive environments, which has caused the concrete walls in both structures to need rehabilitation. In order to restore structural integrity and provide corrosion resistance, the application of a coating system is required. A request for quote was issued specifying several acceptable alternate coatings to allow for competitive bids and was posted on the county website, the Georgia Procurement Registry website, the Georgia Local Government Access website, advertised in the Effingham Herald and the Savannah Morning News, and sent to 5 known vendors. A mandatory pre-bid inspection and meeting was held and bids were received from 3 of the companies who attended. The bid results, lowest to highest, were E&D Coatings, $50,340 complete, with an additional $4,650 to leave the manhole diversion tap T in place for a grand total of $54,990. Completion time of 60 days maximum. Steel and Associates, $84,250 complete, with no additional charge to leave the manhole diversion tap T in place. Completion time 30 days. Y Delta, $84,257 complete. Option to leave the manhole tap T was not offered. Completion time 60 days. In order to minimise any disruption, work will not begin until after the end of the school year on May the 23rd and will be completed before the new school year begins on August the 6th. Funding is available in the current water and sewer budget, but a budget amendment is necessary to move the funds within the budget. And I believe the amendment is in your packets. And I've spoken to Joanna about that, and she's fine with that. With it being moved, we've all, as staff, we've discussed it, and everybody's fine with it. And the contract has been reviewed and approved by the county attorney.
It seems like a lot of work to do on one little manhole, doesn't it?
I'm sorry?
I say, that seems like it costs a lot of money to work on one little manhole.
It's a manhole.
It's two, it's a manhole and a well.
Yeah, it's about 30 feet deep, I think. It's
How deep is it?
Yeah,
One's 25 feet deep, the other one is 15.
15 and 25, and it's an 8 foot or 6 foot.
One's 8 foot and one's 6.
It's a big hole.
2 big ones.
They'll clean
A lot of
it.
concrete.
What do they do? Clean it, sandblast it, and then recoat it?
And it's a live system too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did get a call, E&D code, this doesn't have a bond on it, performance bond or anything like that on this amount, right? I got a call from some people who live in the county that is in this bid, is not one of these bidders, but they kind of gave me a warning about E&D. Is there any, what protection we have if for a contractor that failed to perform on a job this size?
There's insurance.
Those are just non.
Yeah, we have insurance, the insurance policy, but other than that.
I'm talking about a non-performance issue, not a damage to it, but a non-performance.
No, so if this coating starts coming off, or
Well, I'm talking about it just started on the job and it's not finished.
That would be a breach of the contract, and we could go after them for damages for breaching their contract by not finishing the job. That's something I've heard.
Don't usually pay them until they finish it.
It is, I hesitate to bring it up, but apparently they have a problem in the county.
But if, I mean, if the board would like to require a bond, that's something that.
I mean, we typically don't bond these lower amount projects. And I don't know this firsthand, it was somebody called me and said, just be careful.
Is the coding system specified by you? So if they're applying the same material, are you, somebody going to oversee it? Or will you be inspecting it as they do work, make sure the walls are prepped correctly?
Either I or one of my staff will be checking on the project as it goes along, yes.
Have we done something like this before?
No. So I don't want to try to claim that we're experts on it or that we're going to pick up every last little detail. But generally speaking, I mean, as Reggie said, it's cleaning, it's sandblasting, it's applying a cementitious base layer and a paint tile type of coating. So it's not rocket science, but I think we can follow along with it with our staff fairly well.
So you say they do the same type of work in Chatham
It's
County?
a similar thing. And, I mean, I'm okay. We just want to make sure we don't let them get ahead of us as with any contract on the payment.
We keep a close eye on them.
have we ever used these people before for anything?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. How many of these
Yeah, we
wet
have.
wells do we have around? I mean,
Who did the
is this
thing in
unique?
Clyde? I thought-
Yeah, they did the bore and
They did the boring in Clyde for the water line, I thought.
Yeah.
That's who did that. We
The
didn't-
fire department? For the fire department?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a coating, obviously, it was a water line, but we didn't have any issues on that particular project.
Okay. I'm not so concerned about it, but I just thought I would mention
Yes, sir.
it was problematic.
Do we have other of these wet wells scattered around?
Yes, sir. Every pump station has
It's
a
a
well.
lift station.
It's a pump station.
What is their condition?
We've assessed all of the pump station wet wells, and this is the only one that is in need of rehabilitation at this time.
Did it not originally have a liner in it?
It originally had a spray coating in it that evidently did not hold up to the environment it's been placed in. And to be honest, this is partially because low flows, long detention times in the system allows for additional hydrogen sulfide generation that's not generally accounted for in the construction of a new system. So, I don't believe that what they put in originally back then was intended to handle this sort of environment. What they are putting in, what is spec now, is designed to be resistant to hydrogen sulfide gas like this.
I was just asking, wondering if there were any more of these going to be coming down the line.
We don't foresee any. Now, we haven't checked every single gravity manhole in the system, but we've checked most of the ones that receive force main discharge, and we've checked all of the lift stations. There are a few of them that aren't in perfect condition, but none of them that need active rehabilitation. Now, will eventually it be possible that we may have to do one or two or three other ones at some point in the future? I wouldn't be surprised, yes, but not in the immediate future.
Now, would we be voting on a budget amendment here tonight? We don't have the budget amendment.
It should have been, yeah,
This is the problem.
It says it would be needed, but I
It-
didn't.
it's up there. I saw it was a miscommunication among staff. We did not give it to the clerk, so it was not put in the book. We realized that earlier today, so it is now in those little folders that's coming around. Now, it's a budget amendment within
Department 105.
Department 105.
Within the category, right?
Yeah, within the category. It's not coming out of fund balance. It's all budgeted funds. It just wasn't budgeted specifically for a manhole rehabilitation.
Correct.
One short. Okay. So we've got two issues that we're dealing with. Number one is the award of the contract. Number two, the budget.
I mean, yes,
What we have to deal with it as two different items.
I don't think you can approve it as one. You can approve the award of contract and the budget amendment as one motion. But you would do all of it. Like I said, it's within the current year's budget. It's just, it's above our legal level of control.
All right. If we got anything straight, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we go with alternative one to approve the B&D coatings bid and to make the budget amendment necessary to pay for it and to fund it.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think from Commissioner Mason's direction, staff knows not to litigate it with the money.
And it's going to need,
Next item is consideration to accept proposal for architecture and engineering services for SR 119 recreation complex improvements.
after our joint meeting with the Recreation Board last year, as well as our short-term work program approval of last year, which contemplated improvements to the rec complex on Highway 119 in Springfield. The improvements include civil, site, electrical, and architectural improvements, a new gymnasium, and they're included in the short-term work program at $1.755 million. We requested proposals through our normal means. We received 7 proposals. They were scored by 3 staff members, and CHA Sports demonstrated a wealth of prior experience in sports complex design, master planning, site development, landscape design, and facility system evaluation and gymnasium experience. They also provided lowest fee at $79,500. A copy of the bid recap is attached. Staff recommends approval of a bid so that we can go to work with CHA on a contract for this.
Any questions?
No, I just always talking earlier, just on the scope of what they're doing, going forward, we need to look potentially if we need to procure more property there to do it right. I just want to make sure we're going down the right road and doing it. What needs to be done. That's my only concern. I like this company. But that doesn't affect us.
Any other questions? Motion?
Make a motion to approve alternate number 1.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Next item, consideration to accept proposal for architecture and engineering services for public works and fleet maintenance facility.
The board approved the short-term work program, which includes $550,000 for a new public works and fleet maintenance facility to be located in close proximity to where the current public works office is located. A request for proposals was issued by our normal means, and staff received 6 proposals in response. Reardon Brock is a Savannah firm and offers a fixed price of $33,000 for all required services and has demonstrated experience in designing garage-type facilities and office spaces. Staff is recommending acceptance of this proposal and so that staff can move forward with the contracting stage.
This would give us a design proposed to be constructed.
That's correct. This would be for a full architectural set of drawings. Program, design, and geotech.
So we had 2 identical bids of 33,000.
We actually had 2 that, one, the second one, Jake Lynn Gregory out of Valdosta, has a 6% budget for construction. If we take $550,000, which is our budget, and multiply times 6%, it equals $33,000. So if they design a building that's, $400,000, obviously their fee will be less. They're located in Valdosta. They had a also positive experience due to their distance, and they also did not include geotechnical in their proposal, which Reardon Bach did.
Reardon Bach, a better bid.
I would also say they all question our budget, so the chances of them designing $400,000 on a building, we don't feel like are very good. I think we're gonna have to be reining them back to get them at $550, quite frankly.
And then if it were to go, 551, they'd be getting 6% of that.
That'd be higher.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Any other questions, discussion? Motion?
Make a motion to approve alternative number 1.
Second. Motion and a second to approve alternative 1. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Next item, consideration to approve to award a contract and issue a notice to proceed from McCall Road restriping to Peak Pavement Marking LLC.
Yes, we've received several concerns, I would say, on the condition of the markings on McCall Road. This is for the portion of McCall Road south of Blue Jay, between Blue Jay and 21 south of Blue Jay Road. And as you all know, the portion to the north is being resurfaced. Now that will be restriped, at least the portion that's being resurfaced with that contract. Mainly, we had some concerns with the school calling us, Blandford. If you go in front of there, they're almost non-existent striping, and we keep coming in and out there having some issues. So this would restripe all the way from Highway 21 to Blue Jay Road. An invitation to bid was issued. We received 2 responses, which isn't completely unusual because there just aren't that many striping companies out there to do this stuff. The low bidder was Peak Pavement Markings at $32,620. Peak has done some things on our roads, not necessarily for us in the past. Hodgeville was one of them that we partner with GDOT. Staff recommends awarding the contract and issuing a notice to proceed with pavement markings. And I would point out this is thermoplastic because of all the turning in and out, and it's RPM too there too.
And that's the issue, when the school board did the school, they used regular paint
Correct.
on the striping, and that's why the lines
Yes,
have gone away.
so this is done as thermo, so that the issue doesn't come back
Thermal is much heavier.
nearly as quickly. You know, obviously they all wear out, but it's also RPM too.
Does that include the, and you call them something, flavors?
Raised pavement markers? Yes, sir. It does. Correct.
It makes a lot of difference with the markers.
It does at night, yes, sir.
At night, especially if it's raining, you can see those markers
Yes,
stay on your side of the road.
we've tried to add those to everything we've done recently. Now, not everything's thermo, but we at least put those markers.
They're relatively low cost, right?
About $3.50 a piece.
And this stripes the outsides of the road and the center?
Yes, sir. And all the hatching in front of the school, the center turn lanes, the
Digital.
signalization islands.
I heard a new term the other day, those are called digital lines now.
Diagonal.
Have you heard that?
No.
Digitals?
No.
Yeah, on the white, on the right side, where you have your turn lanes and the islands are hashed out,
Yeah.
they're calling those digital lines. That's what the ticket says if you get one for driving through.
Well, we're hatching the digital lines in.
All right. Any other questions, discussion? Motion?
Make a motion through order number 1. Thank you.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Now,
Last item.
That's the last one.
That's what he said last time.
All right, let's go ahead and do staff report. Y'all don't fight over who goes first.
You wait on me or?
Go ahead.
Sheriff's Office update is attached. Blue Jay, all road work is underway. Ash Road, that work continues on. Most of the milling has been complete, not all of it. They're starting to prime behind it. The surface treatment will go behind that. Fleet operation, maintenance, management services. This is our vehicle, our actual wrench time.
Can I back you up a minute?
Yes, sir.
Remind me, did we decide then to go ahead and put the surface treatment over everything that was
That's the
removed?
way the bid came back. I think we talked about possibly leaving some off. If you'll let me know which ones you want to leave off, I'll be glad to try.
Well, that's why I'm asking, is it to the point that we need to be looking, reviewing, deciding if some of them we don't need to?
Yes, sir.
and a lot of that, my thoughts on that is, a lot of that would be determined by how the Bunyan Kessler rework goes. If that becomes, how are they moving on that? Have Baker started anything?
No, he's getting all his subs lined up and all the bonds in place. He said it'd take a couple of weeks to get all the subcontracts in place and they'll get started in the next
Probably.
2 to 3 weeks. Yeah.
And the milling, is it doing what we think it's,
It has different effects on different roads because they're different thicknesses. They're milling 13 inches, which is the deepest that that mill will go, and they have what I understand to be the largest mill that Caterpillar makes. And in some places, you can see the dirt getting in there, and others, you really can't. It just depends on the road because they're different. The ash is not consistent. In some places, it may be 6 inches thick, and some it's 8 and 10. Some places it's a foot. So it just depends. They're going 13 inches. They're getting all that they can get.
Then that is part of what the problems with ash roads is the consistency. There's a lack, it's a total lack of any kind of consistency.
And I will say on Bunyan Kessler, that road was poured, would have permitted. I went back and found what I was doing, and it was like 4 inches of ash. It was 2 inches of pavement.
Well, because the contractor was getting paid by the square foot
You
price.
paid the haul, that's correct, yeah. So the thicker they could put it, the more they were getting paid. So they run out of length.
have y'all gone up any of these roads that's been
I haven't read it.
I have.
Well,
One day-
you live on one.
Yep, but I rode all the way to the river on it too.
They've had a couple instances where they got caught. You
In the
know,
rain.
weather came up on them and they maybe shouldn't have tried to open up that road that day. You know, harrow it up, fill it up that day with a severe weather report looking ahead. And I know Reggie's got had many of the same calls I've had. That's kind of part of the nature of contracting. You gotta break eggs to make it on, kind of story.
But the roads, as they are milled and graded off, are, do you think they're going to be able to be maintained by motor graders?
Oh, no.
No,
So still wouldn't it?
no, they need to put chip and seal on them. If you don't, they don't deteriorate.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. 'Cause
Well, the other part of it, I'm sure y'all know the courthouse extension during the time that we had scraped the surface off of that, there's dust a mile either way up and down that street, and we've got continual complaints from people who live in that area. Be more than happy to try it if that's what you feel prudent, but the contract is priced to do surface. Now, it's unit rate stuff. We don't do it when we pay for it, so.
Right.
It needs to be sealed.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get is a,
What would be great would be if we kind of knew that some of the results coming back from how the Money Kessler thing is going to work is it may be prudent just to hold on the chip seal, go ahead and put the surface, the stone on it, and then go ahead and paint it.
And we
On the
can,
high track roads, now there's many roads up in the rural part of the county that until there's timber haul on it in a wet time of the year, and the roads get torn all to pieces, they hold up well, they hold up reasonable, you know. But then there's the roads that are high traffic roads, like the courthouse extension over there. You know, it just wouldn't be smart to put ash back there, you know.
well, it sounds like we're going in to put surface treatment.
yes, sir, I asked Gary to come up with another list too. If you want to wait, we can certainly do that while he's here. Because it seems like every time we go down the road, you can say, well, this road here is just as darn bad. You know, there's plenty of opportunity to do out there. You know, we can wait if y'all like or try to do something now. I think I've stated before, my concern is just me
That's what we've
speaking.
been doing, but I'm pretty tired of waiting.
Well, that's what I'm trying to
Some of
get
these
to.
roads, just when they're 18, 17, and 18 foot wide, if we go back and pave that, we will be trying to stripe 7 and 8 foot wide lanes or 9 foot, 8.5, 9 foot lanes.
I'm ready to make it happen, somebody tell me what to do. We know digging it all up, falling off is astronomical, we've done that one time, we can't afford to do that.
And again, that's why I was trying to just get these things, it's costing us about $60,000 a mile, current contract, to do what we're doing to it. It's about $80,000 a mile to resurface a road, but that's when it's already built. It's just the cost of converting it over, quite frankly.
It's costing us 60,000
Approximately, yes, sir.
a mile
Yes, sir.
to do it.
To do this
Go
rehabilitation.
narrowly with it?
Would you chip and seal?
Yes, sir. To grind them, relay it down, and chip and seal it. The contract that we have right now was a little over about 1.2 million on 16 miles. It was right at 16 miles.
And if we didn't put the chip and seal on it,
It was,
I'm just,
Yeah,
I'll pull it up while you're talking. I got it right.
if we can do 10 more roads,
But you don't throw away what you already got done.
And that's
If
what
you don't
I'm
try to
trying-
chip and seal on it, because I noticed I rode in front of my house, when it rains, it gets soft since they went over it, and it's good shape now. You put the chip seal, that'll be good for 5 or 6 years.
but
And see, that
I
does-
think we're talking about if we could get, if this grounds up enough and we got enough dirt in it, and then you get back to a road that you could grade.
Right, that's the other, if it got to that point where you could run a grader on
This
it,
is not.
right, but that would have to be where they were mixing it deeper,
But if
where
we're
the deeper in the road.
Oh, you have to put
12,
sand on top of it.
13.
You have to put sand on top of it to get it mixed up.
Yeah, so if that's not the case.
You could put it on top and mix it in. You could
Have they
put
been getting any dirt? Yeah.
in some areas, yes, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It just depends from road to road. Some,
Yeah.
you can't hardly tell they're in dirt, others you can clearly see it in there. Now, as you stated, we could dump it on top and mix it in. You know, we could get it in there. We were just trying to get, without having to haul in additional materials. Basically, it's $3.14 today's prices. I don't know what it'd be if we bid it again to actually do the reclamation, to mill it up, is $218 a square yard. Let me go back and say that. It's $218 a square yard to put down the topping chip and seal. So it's actually cheaper to put chip and seal than it is to prepare the base.
Yeah, about 60% of it is in the base work, 40% is in the surface.
And now I will say this, we're not grinding every single square yard of the roads we're doing now. We're trying to, the bases that are falling apart, we're just going back over and resurfacing. So we're trying not to do any more than we have to for a couple that's not broken, don't fix it, and trying to save the money.
If you're ending up with the majority of the surface is still ash content, we're gonna have the dust issue, we've got to see that.
But how long, for example, the road by your house, Rick, when was that originally done?
2004.
So you get 10 years?
No, it's already been,
It's already been done one time?
yeah. The first time was terrible though. It was terrible the first time.
It's already been done 2 times in 10 years?
Just surface
Either
treatment.
down
Yeah.
It wasn't milled before.
It was not built before.
If I remember correctly, we did one that was the original, and then there was a just surface treatment that either gave a single or a double or a triple layer of surface treatment on top of surface treatment.
They milled
They milled it twice.
The last time they milled it, just like, they didn't do a good job they doing this time, but they milled it, yeah. They didn't have a machine like this
Yeah,
either.
they didn't go as deep. because-
Yeah, I think it was just taking up the top.
But it was milled the last time also.
And what I'm getting at is, if we get in this cycle, you know, and it's gonna cost us 50, what did we say, $80,000 a mile?
60 is what we're paying for this ash.
60,000 a mile
Correct.
for a 5-year service?
Well, we don't know, this is the deepest we've gone, though, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I wasn't here the previous time when they did it. I believe that is the case though.
That old motor grader fella that came, that was in the house, they said he was tough on it. And he said that road, they put chip and seal on it, he said it'd be good for 8 to 9 years.
So we're sealing it.
Yes,
Go ahead.
They got a good
Sorry,
crown,
yeah.
they got a good crown and all on it.
we're trying to watch that this time too. A lot of them are flat, they're inverted, it doesn't look like.
But it's got a good crown on it, and he said it'd be good for 8 to 9 years. With the chip and seal on it.
Fleet operation maintenance, we received 3 bids. Staff is going through evaluating the proposals, that we received. It appears that we will actually go and get pricing from all 3. You know, we will shortlist some, but since there's only 3, we did not receive pricing. We'll go back and do that. Once all the evaluation has been done, that'll come to the board for y'all's consideration. Our fleet fuel purchasing, we put that out to bid and received absolutely nothing back on it. Staff is now looking into Right Express through the state, DOAS, one of those state contracts we can piggyback on, but it's different than what we have, so we are tracking both simultaneously to try to determine what the price differences will be before we come back to y'all with that. Atlas Sand, we received 4 bids on that particular, the plating services for that. We'll be back to y'all at your next meeting. Disaster debris monitoring and disaster debris removal, those 2 were bid together. The monitoring and financial recovery, we received 0 bids on. We received 6 on the debris removal. We'll bring that to y'all at the next meeting too, to see what you want to do with it. 0-hour road repairs, we actually picked up today bids, and there were 2. We received 2 bids on that. So we'll bring that back to y'all probably on the 3rd too, if I can get it all put together in time. Still some things we're trying to get put out to bid. Gateway, I just leave on here for information, you know, that's been put off, the board appointments. The Parkway, I'd like to, unless y'all tell me to do this at a different time. At some point in the future, I'd like to get in front of the board with the changes that we have made to this recently, and the concept and so forth, and get y'all that information, make sure everybody's fine with the direction that we're heading before we go too far down the road y'all want to go down.
Is that a workshop or that's gonna be?
We can do it either way. We can do it as a workshop or an agenda. I basically just want to give y'all the updated concept report, schedule, and cost estimates, and update everybody on what the new geometry and termini of that road look like. Same thing with the MS4. We are now a regulated MS4. I would like to get in front of y'all with the criteria both way of pursuing a waiver or just full implementation and get some buy-in from the board on which way we go. We have to do one or the other by September of this year. And if we're not pursuing a waiver, it's going to take a little bit of work to get to where we need to be. So we just want some direction from the board on that. Again, I'd like to do that on June the 3rd. The next meeting, depending on the schedule, we'll see what we can get running on. The Chamber of Commerce's annual meeting is going to be June the 5th from 7 to 9. They need to know by tomorrow, I believe. Friday, who's coming. If y'all could please tell us if you're coming or not to that so we can tell them. I would greatly appreciate it.
Any idea now? Because they actually need our RSVP back by Friday, so if anybody have an idea?
I won't be in town.
You won't be here.
I'm supposed to be out of town. I can't, trying to make that happen.
I'll go, I just need to verify, but I will be, I think that'll be, we'll give you a couple more days.
I need a small
Yeah, I know,
vacation.
I'll let you know something next day, so. Maybe
I need a small vacation.
I think I already did, didn't I? Say yes, sorry.
You did. No, actually, that was for the Ed Issues practice tomorrow.
No, that was, I couldn't.
Right, you couldn't get that
Air conditioning,
tomorrow.
So, in-house
tomorrow.
and y'all one or two or
Yes.
do two, 4.
I don't, most likely, but I will verify tomorrow.
So 8 looks like it. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, thank you. I was asked to inform y'all that our emergency management agency is certified as a storm ready community. Their certification process has been completed. You can read about what it does for us. Number 16, binary bus. I want to just give y'all an update on this. Friday, May the 9th, we were actually informed on that day that Binary Bus, which is the company that we use to host our external GIS information, is no longer going to be in this business. They're discontinuing their solution for custom applications immediately, and they want to discontinue all of their support by August of this year. The following Tuesday, our GIS department had a conference call between Esri, our vendor that does, for our GIS solutions, and this other company EJS Inc. recommended as a replacement. The biggest thing I'm trying to tell y'all now is there's a lot of people that utilize this on the external side. We are doing everything we possibly can to see that there's no discontinuation in service. However, we will have to actually identify a vendor. Then we're going to have to bring a contract back to y'all and get all this in place. So, and RC didn't know either what discontinuing of that in August means. There was a caveat that said we may can hold it over till December, depending on who responds to this. Since I wrote this, he's spoken with Dwayne. We may can be able to host this internally on our internal server. So we're looking at it. I just want all y'all to know that we just received, that they gave very short notice, and we're working through this to try to resolve it. Westwood Heights, we've received a couple of requests of, I believe this was at Westwood Drive and Lord Effingham. Is currently a one-way, it's a T intersection. There's a one-way stop, if you will, to convert that to a three-way stop due to speeding and so forth through there. I've gotten with Jerry the cost to do so, 2 signs, 2 posts marking the stop bars on the ground will be about $150. Is this anything the board wants to consider?
Good. It's been going on for a long time.
It's a very inexpensive solution to a problem that's a good number of people, so.
We should have the signs and posts. We probably need to order the paint for the stop bar. We'll get that underway. It should happen next week.
So it is the intersection of Westwood Heights and Lord Effingham.
I believe so. That's my correct. I can go back and look at the emails. But
good about talking to him.
Do you remember, Phil, which one it was?
Bill, we're trying to verify. It is Westwood Heights and Effingham.
I'm sorry, say?
It is Westwood Heights and Effingham. I can go back and look at
Yeah, I'm not sure of the, yeah, I know
I'll
it's over
verify.
there, I'm not sure of the cross street.
Okay.
Anyway, so will it be a three-way or a four-way? Makes it a three-way? Okay.
I think it's a three-way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, the Lord Effingham is just, right, the others.
They'll be glad to hear that.
Lord, signs along Lord Effingham. I'll verify before we go slap up and stop signs, okay? And the last thing I got is, Georgia Department of Transportation do this every year, the STIP, the statewide transportation improvement plans. They hold a meeting yearly. This is going to be Tuesday, June 24th, 1 o'clock p.m. in Statesboro. Y'all are all welcome to attend. At that point, they'll give us a draft STIP of what's going to be included in it. You know, we can still have time to respond back. We'll certainly provide that to the board. If y'all want to attend, you're certainly welcome to. You're under no obligation to do so either. That's all I have. What you want to bring up?
When we bid vehicle maintenance, we received one late response, which we have not opened. And with your concurrence or non-objection, we will let that person know that they are not qualified to move forward in our proposal. We received a total of 3 on time. We received one roughly an hour after the due date.
You return it sealed?
We're still holding
it sealed.
Okay.
We told them that we would notify the board. We do not feel like it is fair to our process to allow a bid to come in an hour after it's due. And given general proximity to where they're located in reference to us, they should have made it here in time.
Tell them to do it for an hour, and you gotta do it for a day.
The second one is I received a request today from the Ebenezer Retreat Center to place an advanced directional sign at the intersection of 275 and Lincoln-Stillwell Road. To be on the Lincoln-Stillwell side to show people coming from Old Augusta Road to turn right on 275. They contacted GDOT about that request. GDOT said your sign actually is going to go in the Lincoln-Stillwell side of the right-of-way, so you'll need to contact the county. We got in touch with Ms. Bazemore after that. She's requested placement of the sign there. They'll pay for this actual sign and post. So all the county would need to do is to be installed. There's no objection. We'll take care of that.
Any objection?
None.
Sorry. And you got your sheriff's office update? Yes. In your package?
Has Jerry contacted you about the stop sign toss at Red Oak Drive?
No, sir.
That's the road that we accepted. I noticed the sign over there got put up.
Really?
I directed him to put it up. Anything else?
Actually, the email just says additional stop signs along Lower Effingham, so I may have this all backwards. I'll figure out where the additional signs need to go. If that's the direction of the board is to solve this speeding issue, I'll make sure that happens.
Any other staff? Steve? Well, we've got your financial summary here.
Yes.
Anything you want to make mention to?
No, sir, just that, we're towards the end of the year. Right now, we're looking good to meet our current budget. And we are trying to get in all of our invoices to ensure that they're recorded as quickly as possible.
All right. Any commissioner?
Old Augusta Road, Baker Construction, grass and erosion. They want to get started on it this spring.
We had another walkthrough with them last couple of weeks, myself, GDOT, and Baker, and went over the punch list again. Obviously, they've not started. I'm still holding their retainage, So I've got about $120,000 roughly of their money. That's when we get done. I mean, they understand they need to do it. We've not given them a completion on the job by any means.
Now, they have been out there removing some erosion control.
Which is not right, because we still got erosion.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering.
Yeah.
They're removing the erosion control before they get the grass established to stop the erosion.
Maybe we need to make a call to them and put some priority on this for us, because if not, then we're gonna have to get somebody else involved, and we don't wanna be out of the grass growing season before we can make that happen.
I'll follow up and see. I mean, like I said, we met out there. Just what I said, they wanted to wait till the summer. Now they're dragging their feet on it. They literally lost one either.
Well, when they wait till spring, and
Correct. And we're summer. Yeah, I'll follow up.
Toss this particular message, said, can you look at doing it three-way, the intersection of Lord Effingham and also Green Street? So it must be Lord Effingham and Green Street intersecting into what was the right of way.
are they having wrecks in there?
They use it as a cut through the speed through the subdivision to get through main roads.
I can ask the sheriff's department for accident reports. I don't know.
The sheriff's department has increased patrols out there.
Maybe they have, something else too.
One other thing on the next agenda, I'll have Dixie Estates, which is a subdivision in the north end of the county. It was originally built as a mid-farm subdivision. I have a petition that the people have given me. And right away, the staff's working, pulling some of the plats and stuff and tracking the ownership of the road. They want that road accepted as a county dirt road in that subdivision. So that'll be on the next agenda.
What's it called?
Dixie Estates, I believe.
It was Dixie Estates and Dixie Manor. One half of the road is Dixie Estates and one half is Dixie Manor.
Whatever.
Yeah. But the name of the road is Dixie
It's
Drive.
directly across from Kiefer Hill Road.
It's just a dirt road, it's not an asphalt.
It's dirt road. We've had an issue up in another part of the county for years where there's not a sufficient right of way to build a road or to grade a road because of ownership of the property and all. Off Union Springs Road. And, but in this case here, there is a 60-foot right of way through the whole place, and it's just a private dirt road now, and they just want it to be graded county dirt road. So, I don't know.
Have you, and this may not be the time for this conversation, but I co-wrote those two plats together just to make sure that there was right away. It was a little unclear to me how it went. This one is a little more difficult for me to prepare a deed for because it's two different plats. I can't just say right away of a particular plat. And the particular surveyor that did it, there's some weird things going on there. So without having to meet some else's description, we may need to get some outside help on this to prepare that deed.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm just saying it so everybody knows.
How about the wind strips? Figure out a way to soften them up. What was the decision on that? You got any more calls on the complaints over there?
Yeah, Jerry was out there fiddling with them is probably the best term that I can tell you. I mean, shy of just ripping them up, and we can do that if the complaints continue. I think he was going to try to mess with them and try to wear them out a little bit.
I'm telling you, give it another month, 2 months max, and they'll be.
Probably. They never let me move it. Looks like it just took a back asphalt, just shook it out. Some of that high, some of it.
They'll.
But anyway,
We're trying to just allow it to do some of
As it
this.
heats up,
If you continue to get complaints, we can scrape them off and start.
Once we start getting some upper 90s, 100-degree days.
Yeah.
And they're paving. They're gonna take care of part of it.
It'll take care of a fourth of it, yeah.
That's far. That's it. There.
I don't know, if this ain't the first right here, to be finished with a meeting an hour before planning board.
Well, we have planning board, it's up to y'all, if you want to discuss the agreement you referenced earlier. If we need to do that.
Had discussed the one, sir.
Executive session.
Executive
Yeah,
session.
we
No other
can do
stuff?
that. Yeah.
You know, we need to be here till 7 anyhow.
I will entertain that motion.
We'll go into executive session. What is it? Personnel, property, pending litigation. Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn into executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are so adjourned.
We got time to go.
All right. Next item, consideration to approve the May 6, 2014 executive session minutes.
Make a motion to approve the May 6th executive session minutes as presented.
Second. Motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. You need to get your projector cranked up or anything?
Doesn't take long.
It doesn't?
Okay.
To go, it's
Prepared tonight.
just ask him.
Usually I'm running late. I'm never running early.
Do we need to wait 5 minutes?
People do
Who's here?
We good? Can we start 5 minutes early?
Is everybody here?
First,
We'll ask the first item.
Yeah.
I don't know that all the applicants are here, but some of them may not make it also.
Is your first item
Maybe approve it.
let's just,
Yes, give it a couple.
Technically, because you may have citizens that want to speak to the first item.
That's right.
I want to get started as much as everybody else does, but, I mean, if you want to follow the letter of the law, if you wait,
We wanna do
there's
that.
4 minutes.
that's right. I don't think this has ever happened.
Never happened.
Usually I'm being reminded that I'm past 7.
You'll remember how you did it for next meeting now.
Yeah, we told you to put everything on the next meeting.
Eventually, the next meeting's got to come.
Do we need to think about having a workshop before our next meeting?
For what?
If you want to talk about Parkway, that's forward, it may not hurt.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because we got a bunch of stuff that's gotten transferred over.
It's up to y'all, if you would like us to look at the agenda, for the meeting Thursday, Stephanie.
Yeah, Thursdays.
Thursday's agenda day, we'll know on Thursday what all's on there. If y'all like, we can wait till Thursday, see how much it is, and email out to the board. If you're okay with having it for,
Will that be all right with y'all?
We don't have it?
If we need to, if we got a full agenda for the next,
It's not, I don't think
yeah, it's in.
I'll come and see
Our workshop?
Prior to, it's in my list, yeah.
so. So how many?
We may not need to, I mean, that's all I'm saying, if y'all want to wait until Thursday, we'll just see how much is on there.
well, 'cause we'll have a lengthy discussion probably on budget.
True. The MS4 stuff could get rather long if we go through all the requirements of what's going to be required. Just want everybody to understand what ordinances have to come in, what requirements will be there, what reporting, monitoring, what we have to look for.
We just want everybody to know how educated you got going all those classes.
Unbelievable.
Just, bear in mind fine if we change the meeting time, we have to advertise it.
We would do it as a workshop to discuss the things, we wouldn't take any action.
Still has to be advertised.
It still has to be advertised, I know.
She was just letting me know because I'm out of town now.
Personally, I think you might as well plan it for a while.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, unless anybody objects, I'd rather come in here and let's have our discussions at 4, and so we can take action on whatever we need to do. Well, I'd rather come at 4 than stay here till midnight, 11 o'clock. Yes, ma'am. This is not normal. Has everybody voted? Well, you,
It's a little late now, ain't it?
no,
We got 3 minutes to get in line.
you voted, Chief? Yeah, you got your.
I got mine, I changed clothes.
Pat left.
I think he's already over the election. Jack Garden's gone.
He's trying to get the scoop on you.
Yeah.
He's trying to get the scoop on you. Might be a tad early.
How would you do it? But it goes so fast, man.
It's 7, Chairman. It's 7 o'clock.
All right. Time is 7 o'clock. Time for planning board present. First item. Planning board recommends approving an application by Countryside Baptist Church for conditional use to operate a daycare on the property of the church located at 1201 Noel C. Conway Road, map number 375 rather, parcel number 4 in the first district.
As a Countryside Baptist applied for, put in a daycare, they currently have a Sunday school there, but they've got a separate building in back, modular building. I believe they've already added a fenced play area. They have certainly plenty of parking, and traffic issues would not come into play. Both planning board and staff recommend approval.
Public hearing. Anyone here wish to speak for this application? Against? And no one in the audience to speak for or against? Any questions from the board? Being in the first district, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion we approve based on the planning board and staff recommendations.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. Next item, planning board recommends approving an application by Tracy Tipton for a variance from section 3.3.1 accessory buildings to reduce the setback for a boat carport located at 117 Hawthorne Drive, map number 418D, parcel number 47 in the second district.
Yes, sir. Ms. Tipton is applying for a variance to reduce the side setback. It's a oddly shaped lot. which if they were trying to fit a house into it in the variance, that would certainly qualify. An accessory structure is not considered a necessity. Staff recommended denial, planning board recommended approval.
What are the setbacks?
10 feet for accessory structure.
There's up there, so how many feet? Where are they looking for?
I believe it's, is Ms. Tipton here? Yeah.
6 foot?
I believe it's,
It's 6 foot at the beginning of the structure and 8 foot at the back.
Ma'am, please come to the podium and state your name.
George, some staff just recommended that doesn't.
Staff doesn't need to.
But you don't see it as a problem.
not necessarily the neighbors, I believe, have no problem with it.
All right.
Hi,
Name for the record, please.
yes, I'm Tracy Tipton. Good evening.
Good evening.
I live at 117 Hawthorne Drive, and as he noted earlier, it is an odd-shaped lot. I have an easement on the left-hand side of the property where the structure for the water containment facility is on that side, so I couldn't build on that side. And there is a pool already located on that property in the back, so I didn't really have, I felt like a viable option other than that right-hand side to build that carport.
And how many feet is it off the property line?
It's 6.5 at the beginning, at the front of the structure, and 8.5 off the back.
So, a couple feet.
And George said there was no neighbors that came in.
We've gotten no calls from the neighbors complaining about it, no.
There was a signed agreement between the neighbors.
This is a subdivision.
Yes, sir. Coventry subdivision off of Highway 30.
And it's not this board's position to enforce covenants in a subdivision, but I was just curious, does this,
Page 7 of 9.
huh?
Yeah. Page 7 of 9, letter from the HOA, recommendation based on covenants.
Yeah. Missed it? Okay. I presume that you're for it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much. Yes, I am. And I appreciate your generosity in this manner.
Public hearing, anyone else here wish to speak for the variance? Anyone wish to speak against it? No one else in the audience? Second district, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the planning board recommendation and approve the variance.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the variance. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Next item, the planning board recommends approving an application by D.R. Horton Incorporated to rezone 360 acres from PD to PD.
Yes, sir. D.R. Horton is a PD, and they are requesting a change in master plan, which is why we have unusual wording there. Current master plan looks like that. Everything from here up is built, and from here over doesn't exist. I believe their master plan now calls for 70-foot minimum lot size frontage. They are requesting a 50-foot minimum lot size. They are not requesting additional lots. They intend to reduce the number of townhomes, which currently would be located in this back section. So the overall number of lots, 683 if I'm not mistaken, will stay the same. They just want to have the flexibility to offer some smaller lot sizes, which evidently the market is calling for. And staff and planning board recommended approval. With the addition of moving their recreational space into the next phase and to replace the ballpark, which will go away. There was originally a plan of a baseball, softball field back in the back. They don't intend to build that. They were going to put in a multi-use open grass area. And then it's right here. Okay. And that will be here as part of the next phase that's going in. And both the Representative D.R. Horton and their engineering is here. You have questions?
The only difference between the planning board recommendation and staff recommendation, it appears, is when you're referencing the recreational space. Planning board appeared to try to hold it to a certain size.
Yes, they asked for a full 3 acres.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and staff did not.
And the applicant has come back with this amendment since that meeting with a 3-acre recreation area. So they went along with that.
What's the setback, the side setback?
And the PD, I don't have that. Do you know that right offhand?
State your name, please.
Sure. Ryan Thompson, a landscape architect with Thomas & Hutton. With me tonight is Mr. Jared Osako. He's the owner's rep for D.R. Horton. The side setbacks are currently 7.5, I believe, and we are with the 50-foot lot requesting to go to 5-foot side yard setbacks as well.
All right, what does that do to fire ratings?
I don't know the answer to that.
HUD's written to the left all that way. The way that we have our.
We allow variances from what our ordinances are, correct. Now, whether that changes their fire ratings, you can't set a ladder up on the side of the house, I don't know.
It changes the flow of fires, basically. The amount of water required fire, so for firefighting, but it's no different. I think till you get beyond 50, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but it's not, our normal ones of 10 aren't going to be any different.
My understanding was we had to maintain a minimum 15 feet between structures. And this is, we're going down to 10 feet, if I understand this correctly.
Yes, sir, but I do believe this is the first PD approved in the county that had the 5-foot side yard setbacks. Another adjacent one had 50-foot and 5-yard setbacks as well. We will have to perform, full re-engineering of any of the future phases. We'll have to come back in front of you for the sketch plan approval and for the, of course, the staff for the site plan approvals related to any of the revisions. The map that originally was shown with the lot layouts, we have to prepare a new one of those to show that as well. Really, I know it's worded as the rezoning, but it's pretty simple. As George stated, I mean, we're really seeing the market, that the market's there for the single family and not so much for the townhomes.
And I totally understand that, but I think it's the will of this board to try and help in our ISO ratings to try and bring fire fees down and insurance costs. And I don't want to see things happening that's going to be a detriment to that. So that's why I'm asking these questions.
Okay. Well, I know from a standpoint of what is typical is what Toss referenced is that we have to meet a minimum fire flow to have the 5-foot side yard setbacks. We have them in lots of areas with the very same concerns. We can provide some additional information if we need to between now and the next reading of it.
And the next question is, are these zero? I've always been told there's 0 lot lines, or where you've got a narrow space on one, the opposing, you might have 3 feet on one side, and on the opposing lot, you would have 7 feet.
No, sir. Currently, what is proposed is just true 5 and 5-foot side yard setbacks.
So there's no way to get into the backyard.
Well, from a vehicular access standpoint, no, not typically. Now, granted, I mean that's the extreme condition. The type isn't always that case, but yes, I mean, if it was 2 side by side, there would be a 10-foot separation between them. Yes, sir.
Right.
I don't think this will affect ISO. Most of those are addressed by building codes. When buildings get so close, you have to have. So I think that most of that's addressed in the construction process.
And this is from my own experience. I know that there were, in some cases, you could have the 10-foot separation, but you had to put like 3 foot on this lot and 7 on this, so that you had room to actually on each lot.
No, I mean, I don't think that would be, we wouldn't be opposed to that at all.
I'm not sure, what was that? I'm not sure
That's if you have a zero
ISO.
lot where,
You think that was the ISO?
Can you get a truck into the backyard?
I guess that would determine where, maybe a fence was put.
Right.
And you're saying that if it was an offset 7 and 3 rather than 5 and 5, with the 7 foot, you could get a truck to the back.
Well,
I really don't think.
I don't think they're ever gonna make a truck to the back of those, they're gonna make a.
You're not gonna put a fire truck or 7 foot hole.
I'm just asking a question.
Okay.
What square footage are we looking at on these lots? What's the goal as far as the houses?
As far as the actual product, the house itself or the lot size would be a minimum of 6,000 square feet, but the, I don't know that either.
How small houses are you looking to put there?
I really don't know. I think that the width to be, obviously they'd be 40 foot wide, because that's what we got left.
They're, like Jerry was saying, the way they're set up is typically, I mean, that they are 38 to 40 feet wide, and they're a longer, deeper house.
There's a need for this type of housing in Effingham County, and if we want people in our water and sewer system, we better figure out how to get them in there.
Yeah, but I want to see what's happening out there from Highway 30. I don't have the contract until down here 21. There's piling in there on top of one another.
Well, that's what this is. I mean,
And what I would recommend is 2013 fire suppression rating schedule, 1 and 2 family dwellings not exceeding 2 stories in height.
But if we're not going to allow it, we just do away with the PUD. We created the PUD to allow for this necessity in our plan.
Tosh, you were saying?
The difference is 0 to 10 is 1,500 gallons a minute, 11 to 20 is 1,000. So once you go beyond that 10-foot separation, you have to increase your fire flow from 1,000 to 1,500. And I think that's the difference, is if you can get 1,500 out of your system. So typically we try to keep them at least 10 foot apart, so you're planning for 1,000 GTM. I mean, it's fine as far as ISO, as long as you can produce and need a fire.
Right, we'll have to provide engineering documents to prove that we're meeting that, or otherwise we would have to prove in our site plan that the buildings aren't going to be that.
Well, it has to be sprinkled or something.
Yeah, or
I
sprinkled.
mean, there's other ways around it, but just for unsprinkled building, it's done in separations. So I mean, it's fine, it can be done, it's just, you have to be cognizant of that fact, right? So.
and this is another dumb question. Does the 10-foot separation include the eave of the house? Or is it wall to wall? In some jurisdictions,
It's to the wall.
in some jurisdictions it's wall to wall. In some, City of Richmond Hill,
So the,
It's only one that's to the eave.
We've always made it wall to wall.
It probably doesn't say it.
That should be defined.
It probably doesn't state it, so
They
there's.
should, I've always said in the county to be wall.
It doesn't state in our ordinance, and we've made it traditionally from the wall.
Finished, veneer, whatever.
yes, that's the way I understood it, was to the brick or whatever the exterior.
if the gallon fire flow is based upon 10-foot separation, we need to know where that separation is to have that defined.
In Lincoln County, it's to the gutter on the house. Goes to the nearest thing on.
Well, I've made it up to water enough, it sounds like. This is in the second district. Second district. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the staff recommendation.
Motion is second.
Now, to clarify, the staff,
I made that motion with staff recommendation, so that if when they actually designed it, if they were a little bit short of the 3 acres, it wasn't going to be a problem. I did that intentionally. So they wouldn't have to come back
I had to
again.
go back and see what it was.
Yep.
Okay.
Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Planning board recommends approving an application Barlow, Orendorf, or the Bartow. Better put my glasses back on. There's a T there. To rezone 7.05 acres from AR2 to AR1 located at 3760 North C. Conway Road, map number 436, parcel number 70 in the 2nd District.
Yes, sir. Mr. Orensdorf has a 7-acre parcel which, under normal circumstances, would be zoned to AR1. It was rezoned to AR2 to split off a piece some years ago. They now would like to have a second home for family on their lot, which is allowed in the AR1 only, and they are requesting to go back to AR1. Both staff and the planning board recommend approval.
All right. Public hearing. Anyone here wish to speak for this? Against? All right, 2nd District.
I make a motion that we approve with the planning board and staff recommendation being the same.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the staff recommendation. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. Planning board recommends approving an application by Dennis and Tina Ansel to rezone 1 acre located at 4022 Riverside Drive from AR1 to AR2, map number 224, parcel number 7 in the 3rd District.
Yes, sir. The Ansels want to create a home site for a family member. They want to cut out a small piece up in this front corner, if I'm not mistaken. Both staff and planning board recommend approval.
All right, 3rd District. Anyone here wish to speak for this?
I mean, I can if you need me to. I'm Tina Ansel, and we're just trying to rezone that acre for my daughter to put a home.
Anyone here wish to speak against it? 3rd District.
I'll make a motion to approve with the planning board and staff recommendation. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried.
All right, thank you.
Next item, planning board recommends approving an application by Judy Wheeler for conditional use to allow for a family cemetery located at 393 Reedsville Road, map number 421, parcel number 31 in the 3rd District.
Yes, and Ms. Wheeler, as she stated to me, is planning for her future and would like to have a family cemetery on her property. She is a member of county staff and is away at class right now. She is not able to attend tonight. She owns quite a bit of the adjoining property, actually. And both planning board and staff recommend approval.
For the whole 8 acres?
No, 1 acre. Does it not say 1 acre on there?
No.
I apologize. Yeah, but it's a 1 acre cemetery.
There's a write-up on our agenda.
It says on the
that 1 acre.
conditional use application 1 acre.
Okay, yeah, on the application, I know it's right, and I apologize for not putting it on the staff report.
All right, anyone here wish to speak for this? Against? 3rd District.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve with the planning board and staff recommendation up to 1 acre.
Motion and a second to approve up to 1 acre. All in favor? Any opposed? So carried. Next item, the planning board recommends approving an application by Faye Lancaster to rezone 1.07 acres from AR1 to AR2, located on Mock Road, map number 409, parcel number 59 in the 4th District.
Yes, so this is a large parcel owned by the Lancaster family, which, if I'm not mistaken, will eventually be split into 3 children, is it? Yeah. And they're currently just cutting out some home sites for the children prior to splitting it. The parents are still around. This would be one here, and they have one back here. The one they're asking for now is, I believe, going to be up in this rounded bend area. So, no, that's all right. So they're just asking to rezone a small piece for a home site. That's both planning board and staff recommended. And this might have to here if you have any questions.
So we would be rezoning the whole 97.6?
No, 1.07.
1.07, where does it say
Right down
Under synopsis. You want my glass?
that? These aren't very good.
It's,
I got it back here.
You borrow this?
it's right here.
You just read it too.
Got it? I got it.
It's on the agenda also.
All right. Anyone here wish to speak for this? Against? Fourth District. Motion.
Make a motion to approve staff recommendations. Second.
Motion and second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. We got it all?
That's it.
Big man forever hold your peace. I'll entertain a motion